Hello, welcome back to Happy Life, Better Life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please comment. I always love hearing from you guys, and I usually try to respond. Sometimes it takes me a minute, but I will definitely respond to your questions, comments, and inquiries, and I appreciate you for doing that. It helps us to stay connected. Also, don't forget to share. I want to ask you to help me by, just maybe sharing this channel with someone who might be able to benefit from it. Someone you might know who's starting over in their 30s and 40s. They could be having a hard time. Or maybe they're having a great time and they still can be a part of this channel. So today I want to talk about, I'll have to come up with a better name. So I guess it'll come to me. But I basically wanted to talk about fear. When you're starting over, fear is an enemy that you definitely have to contend with. Sometimes we don't see the greatness that's in ourselves. We don't see our ability. We don't see our savvy. We don't see our potential. And lately, I guess I would say that's been an area where I have really been struggling lately, because there's something that I want to do, and it seems so grand and it seems so big that there's a part of me that will sort of, there's a part of me that's intimidated. I guess that's the best way to say it. I have a dream of something that I've always wanted to do. I've watched so many shows about it and I've seen people do it. And I'm one of those people, I've always said that I'm the type of person that I love when something is just a vision. It's just a dream. And when that thing becomes tangible and when that thing has manifested, that is like the most exciting thing for me. So this year, I began to embark on journeys to do things that I wanted to do that were really near and dear to me. Partly because I don't feel like I have all the time in the world to do these things. I feel like I'm in the latter part of my life because I'm in my 50s, and but I wanted this part of my life to be better than the first part. And I'm sure some of you understand that and you feel the same way. You've come to a point in your life where you don't want to be just living, just surviving. You want to be thriving. You want to wake up in the morning feeling good about where you live. And when I'm doing, like, I call it vision casting or dream casting, sort of like, it's like, when people go fishing and then they have their hook on the thing and they get to a point and they just cast it out and they just let it go as far as it'll go. And then at a certain point, they'll stop it. And, after a while, they'll maybe kind of start reeling it back in, hoping that they've caught something on the end of that hook and that they're bringing it in. Well, to me, vision casting and dream casting is like that. Like throwing your imagination out there as far as it'll take you to something that you really want to do and accomplish. And for me, one of those things is being a published author because I love to write. And I've written 2 children's books, but I'm still perfecting them. Well, this is one of them. And while I love this book, Queen, You Are One of Us, I had some problems, some issues with the cover, and it seemed like the more I tried to fix it, the worse it got. And eventually, I just backed off for a bit. I was like, okay, I'm getting frustrated. So let me come back to that when I'm more level with it, because it's so important to me. I wanted to look professional. I wanted to be professional. And I already finished the second book. So this one is for girls. The other one is for boys. The other dream that I have is I really wanted to start house flipping. I wanted to get properties that were in disrepair, and I wanted to fix up those properties, modernize them, and then put them back on the market for sale. And I wanted to do that initially to start making money, but then I wanted to get to the point where I was holding on to some of the properties as rentals. Eventually, yes, I want to do something for myself, have a home, and then I've always wanted to have a family home somewhere. Um, a family home where that was big enough, like about 7 bedrooms or something for everybody to be able to come and stay, like for the holidays or something like that. So that's my dream. That's what I call dream casting, vision casting. Throwing that line out there and then, reeling it in. And part of reeling it in is coming up with steps and goals to help you get to the bigger goal. So in this process, I found myself being intimidated. When I initially was trying to get into the house flipping business, I did it with a partner, and we started an LLC. And this is all like just last year. We started an LLC. We got into a training program to learn how to do the contracts, to learn how to get financing, different types of financing, learning how to build a team, and all these things that were very pertinent to being successful, and how to search for properties in areas that were upcoming where there was already okay, so I was going to say where there was already renovating and things like going on, but basically gentrification. Let's just call it what it is. That's what it is. And so in a city like Philadelphia, there were already areas that were being updated. There's new businesses popping up. There's new restaurants and all these things. So that was an area that was more easily accommodating to what we wanted to do. And the partner that I had, she lived there, and my daughter lived there, so I could stay there with her from time to time when I needed to. We went and looked at some properties on a Friday, chose one, and then on Monday, my partner decided to back out of our partnership. So I'm not going to go into that, but I was hurt. I was devastated. I felt angry. I felt confused. I felt a bunch of things. And I didn't know if I wanted to continue with it anymore. I wanted to just quit, but then I had already had the money that I had, sank into this. And if I don't do anything, then that just goes to waste. It was just for nothing. And it was, thousands of dollars. Not a huge amount, but it's huge to me because it's thousands of dollars that I could have used to relocate somewhere else or do whatever. So my story is this. I feel like I've been seeing myself in a very small way. I know that when I really set my mind to something, I can accomplish it. I never thought I would be doing this. I never thought that I would continue to do this page because I'm not even someone who likes being in front of the camera. But I know that when I was going through, there wasn't really any place to turn for any kind of advice or support in what I was dealing with. And I knew that I couldn't be the only person who was going through that. Because when I had to start over after being married for 24 years and stuff, it just seemed like I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of not being able to do the things that I had done with someone else by myself. And it's funny because literally right as I'm saying this to you, that was the thing with marriage. But this is the same thing with the business that I want to do. Because I was so afraid of failing. And it's the same thing here. I was afraid, what if I can't do it by myself? When I got married, I was 19. What did I know? Nothing, really. Nothing, really. I mean, I was so young. I didn't even really know who I was as an individual. But I did know what kind of mother I wanted to be. I did know what kind of wife I wanted to be. And I did my best every day to do those things. So when it didn't work out, and I was like, man, I'm going to have to figure out how to live on my own. And my husband was like, I don't know, he was about 7 or 8 years older than me. And, so like I said, I was really young. And, he was our main provider. I always worked, but he was our main provider, except for when our children were really young. Like, we didn't want somebody else raising our children. So I usually tried to stay home with them for at least the first year of their lives, and sometimes longer, because I got pregnant like back to back, to back kind of. So anyway, that said, here I was on my own, and I was like, well, sink, swim, fell, fly, whatever happens, it's all on you, girl. You got to put your big girl pants on. And I literally had to tell myself that. You have to put your big girl pants on, and you got to work this out. And so I worked. I relocated to where things were were more affordable, financially. And also, there were times when I worked as many as 3 jobs at one time. Um, when I first relocated, I worked for the school district, working with children who had special needs. And then I one day accompanied one of them on on the bus, the van home. And so they asked me if I could do it in the morning and the afternoon. So like before I went to work, if I could do it in the morning and in the afternoon, if I could accompany this child on the van. So I did it, and that was like a little extra. And then after a while, when I was working at the school with the children with special needs, I also started, they didn't have someone to cover the desk when the secretary of the school, and who let people in and out the building and did all kinds of other things, answered phones and stuff. They needed someone to cover her shift, so I started covering her shift. So here I'm working at the school with special needs. I'm riding the vans. I'm covering the secretary. Then I got another job. So then my second job ended up being riding the vans to and fro in the morning before I went to my job, and afternoon after my job ended. And then I eventually started driving the school bus. So I became a driver. So I drove in the morning before I went to the school I worked at, and I left there a little early to pick up children from elementary school, high school, and junior high and all that, and drop them off. Then I started working in the summertime at Gabe's, and then I was doing that during the week while I was doing the other 2 jobs. So it was a lot. But I was determined that I was going to survive, and not just survive, but I wanted to thrive. So then after a while, doing all that started wearing on me physically. So I said, okay, well, it's time to work smarter and not harder, because I need more sustainable income, and I've got to figure something out. So what I did was I applied for another position, even though I loved working with the children and stuff like that. Unfortunately, whenever it's like human services or working with children, stuff like that, those jobs just don't pay enough. So then I got into working as a secretary. And I did have a background in banking and things like that. I had done many other things before this, including working in a nonprofit. But what I did was I ended up going, and because I already worked for the school district, I said I'm going to apply for another position in the school district, something that's a bit more lucrative and so forth. So then I went into administration. And then I did that for 6 years, and I was able to drop the other jobs that I had, because this job in and of itself was enough to cover what those were doing. But then after COVID and stuff like that, when things went up, and then I had to get a new car, because my car was in an accident and different things. It was like my monthly expenses just seemed to explode, even going food shopping and things like that. And then that just wasn't enough anymore. So I had to really start thinking about what I wanted to do. So that's when I came up with the plan to change my life. So now, fast forward, this business, there's been part of me that's been intimidated because I felt like I don't know if I can do this by myself. I don't know if I can do it in my area because this area isn't the same, and I don't know contractors here, and I don't know realtors here, and I'm going to have to build a team again. How do I do this? But you know what? I came to the conclusion today, wherever you are, you can do what you need to do. I'm going to just have to work hard to get that first thing. I just know that once I get that first house, once I get that first deal, that it's just the ball will be rolling from there. And I've tried doing other things, and even when I've thought about working for other people, I can't tell you, it makes me literally feel depressed because I really want to be in control of my time. I don't mind working. I don't mind working hard. I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and getting dirty. But it's a different thing when you're doing that for something that you're building as opposed to doing it for somebody else and then letting them tell you when you can be sick, when you can be on vacation, when you can, it's about being in control of your own life. And I wanted to share this today because I'm like, there's probably somebody else out there who has to do something and they are somewhat afraid. They feel like, can I do this thing? The truth is you can. Learn, study. Anything that we really want to do, we can do it. We just have to be willing to work for it because a lot of things don't just come easily. And I had to think about it. What's the difference between the women who are part of my group, which is called Flip Sisters, because it's a group of women who do house flipping and do things. What's the difference between them and me? Are they any smarter than me? No. They might have some resources that I might not have. They might even be a different nationality or race from me. But there isn't anything that says that I can't do it. And so I'm finally getting to the place where I'm saying, you know what? Learn, be resourceful. I've already done things I never thought I would do. I have this channel, and thanks to you who spend time with me and watch this channel, this channel has members. Even though I never put out there, I would say on the channel, hey, like, subscribe, join. But I didn't go saying to my family and my friends and stuff, hey, I have this channel on YouTube, join. This channel grew organically, and that's amazing to me. I didn't feel like I was the best orator. And then, oh my gosh, when something some of you probably have been watching and were like, okay, I had a tooth, and it was a tooth that's in the front of my mouth. When I was younger, I slipped on some ice and I fell, and I literally thought I knocked my tooth out, but I didn't knock it out. It was just, it was a little crack in it, but only I could see it. And nobody else could really see it. Like, only I could see it when I was really looking for it, looking close. But as time went on, when I went to the dentist, this is like years later, they were like, oh, you're going to lose that tooth because it's getting looser and it's going to come out. And so then it did eventually do that. And I stopped kind of videoing for a while because I can't tell you how embarrassed I felt about it. I still feel embarrassed about it, but it's going to take a lot of money for me to get to replace that because I wanted to have something permanent, and it was going to be like $4,000. And I was like, yeah, I have so many things to do right now. I don't have that for that, but it is important, and I do intend to get it done. I want you to know I intend to get it done because I feel crazy with it being there. I feel like when I look at myself, I see me, but when I see that, to me, it just detracts from the whole thing. It detracts from my whole appearance. But I decided to just go on ahead anyway. I decided I was going to still keep doing the videos. I decided I was going to still keep doing things, even at work, because I worked in administration and I was the first point of contact. It was something that I felt insecure about because to me, I definitely see it as a flaw. But life goes on. Life goes on. So in my mind, I'm saying, just like me, you've probably already faced so many fears in your life. You probably overcame so many things that you never thought you would overcome. And whatever you're afraid of today, this is just another notch in that belt. This is just another point of learning, of adapting, and overcoming. But you can do it. You can do it. Just like me, there are certain things that I just said to myself, I want to do, and I have to try to do this. So sometimes desperation is a good thing. Desperation is a good thing because desperation helps you to move beyond your fears of what people will say or do and accept you or whatever. Desperation makes you come out of your own piety sometimes and pride. You know, desperation is like, hey, this is what it is, and this is what we got to work with. So what are we going to do? How are we going to make this work? Desperation will also make you look at your skills. What skills do you have that you can already utilize? You know, even for me, starting the Etsy page, that was something that was a huge undertaking to me because I didn't know anything about it. But I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this because that's part of my skills. My skills are, I like to create. I like to design things. How can I utilize this? I have this page that I created and I love this page. And I believe in promoting people to be happier, to really live a life that's fulfilling. Why? Because we don't have that much time. You know, we feel like sometimes we have forever, but we don't. And I want to share things that are important. There's so much noise, there's so much garbage and stuff out there on the internet. Well, shouldn't somebody be saying something of substance? And because, hey, and sometimes we need someone to tell us we can do it. We can do it. So I want you along with me. We're going to face these fears. We're going to face these challenges. And please, if you are someone who recently overcame a challenge, could you put it in the comments? Because we need to see it. We need to read it. We want to know about it. We want to rejoice with you. You know, we want to be happy with you. If it was something that you were struggling to do or something that you just always wanted to do but never did it, but then you finally did it, please put it in the comments. Share it. I want to thank you for being here with me today. I hope you got something out of this because I'm going to be honest. I was battling and struggling with this for at least the past 2 weeks. Trying to figure out what I should do and applying for different jobs and, you know, looking and dreading and saying this isn't going to work. And I just made up in my mind, whatever it takes, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever it takes. And that's what I want to say to you. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, do it. Get it done. You can do it. You can do it. And also, utilize prayer. Utilize meditation. Utilize your friends. Utilize your family. Say, look, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? You know, and maybe it might not. And when I say, can you help me? It doesn't always have to be something that requires money. It could be, well, I'm baking cakes. Can you help me sell them? Can you buy one of my cakes when I make them? Hey, we're going to work with what we have. That's the bottom line. Work with what we have. So, I love you today. You know, I always want you to live a happy life and a better life. And I thank you so much for joining me. Help me to grow this page. Help me. I want to try to get to 500 members by the end of the year. We're almost at 400. I believe it's a doable goal. So, thank you. You know, I want you to live a happy life and a better life, because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Thriving and not just surviving. Living and following our bliss and accomplishing our goals. So thank you. Have a great day today. Be blessed. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.